New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ebro in the morning, Laura Stiles, Rosenberg on assignment, but we got Hasan Minhaj sitting in the new Netflix. Is it a show? We're just going with show.
I would call it a series.
Series?
Yeah.
Is it a series? Man,
Yeah.
Patriot Act. First of all, how did it go when you said you wanted to name the show Patriot Act?
Man,
And being a Muslim, American, Southeast Asian, brown man, and you're going to name your show Patriot Act.
So there's two camps, right? There's the camp that didn't get it. They were like, oh, cool, patriotism, that's awesome. And then there's the other camp that like knew about the law that could legally spy on people.
Yeah.
The Patriot Act from 2001, it's a throwback. And they were like, oh, fuck. You know, like, hey, you can't do that.
Wait, they told you can't do that?
Well, there were some people that were like, hey, I don't think this is the right decision. You probably shouldn't go with this. But I kind of thought of it as a cool way to sort of reclaim that title. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's far back enough so that if you know, you know. And if you don't know, I think, especially with everything that's going on right now with privacy and all that stuff, it's worth bringing up again. Because it's still technically legal.
Right. Well, when I saw it, I didn't even think about it. I mean, I thought about the Muslim aspect of it, right? And that whole how Muslims were characterized and generalized, right after 9/11.
Right.
You being a Muslim American,
right?
But I really took it when I saw it like, this is amazing because some of the greatest patriots are immigrants because they believe in the entire idea to the bone. That's what they came for.
Yeah.
Right? They came here because it was this American social experiment was marketed to the world as a place you could come, bring all of your culture, bring all of your stuff. Yeah. We're accepting you.
Yeah.
And then you get here and you realize, I'm kind of accepted.
Kind of not.
It's kind of okay.
It's
most of the
Jace.
time.
Yeah,
you know?
it's complicated on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's what I took from it is, because you and I know each other, obviously just personally.
On air, off air, yeah.
And I know that you understand, right?
Yes.
The plight of being a melanated human being on planet Earth and specifically in America, right?
Right.
You also understand classism, being of Southeast Asia, classism and these different things are very
We talked
huge.
about that in the first episode with the affirmative action thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I took from it. And I just want to applaud you because I
Thank you, man.
think it's amazing.
Thanks, man.
How does it feel to have your own show?
It's cool, man. It's cool. It's tough. There's some stuff where, it gets crazy. It's scary and exciting, but good, man. We're poking the bear. We came out swinging with the first two, affirmative action in Saudi Arabia. Like, you're going for it.
Yeah.
They don't get poked that much. Let's just put it that way. But there's certain things where I feel like there's certain topics that exist that are kryptonite that other hosts can't really touch or engage in that way. Right. Affirmative action is a sticky thing. Who gets what and why? Right. And when you start talking about it, you're like, it's pretty radioactive. You don't want to.
I thought it was really informative too because I didn't even know about the lawsuit.
The lawsuit, yeah.
I was like, wait, what? I was completely lost, and then I was like, I thought it was really dope how you broke it down, and you had just the right amount of humor to keep you going.
Get people through. No, but it was one of those things where I've seen it, I've heard it before. The stuff behind closed doors that people in my community say about the black community specifically when it comes to getting ahead for their children. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I'm like, let's just keep it 1,000% real. Is this really about civil rights, or is this about your kid getting into Harvard?
Yeah. Because it's only about your kid getting into Harvard.
Because don't act like you're Asian MLK.
Right.
Don't, this is not, no.
Well, and here's the super sensitive piece, right, for black folks, is none of this shit is popping for anybody.
Totally.
Without the fight that black people laid on the line and the people that died.
Yeah.
So that's where our original... When we get offended, it's like, yo, my man. Yeah. You do realize that you're just like the other nigga. Like, don't get it fucked up and think that they just like you better because you're new.
Yeah.
But when you get popping, they gonna shut it down on you too.
Right. But then also, like, I also feel like xenophobia and racism has its flavor of the week.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's kind of like Baskin Robbins.
Yeah.
So this week we have the migrants that are seeking asylum.
That's right.
And they're the flavor of the week. So just
criminalize them.
Totally. So just when you think you've sort of made it under the radar, the thing that I've learned in my 33 years in this country is that nah, trust me, you can hide for a little bit, but there's going to be that time where they come for you too.
Now we've talked. You've been on the program right after the White House press conference, right? Which, I mean, you bodied it, and we've had the pleasure of talking to you about kind of that thing that's different between black folks and other minorities, which is there's India. Right, like there's a place that you know of, and your culture is intact that you call home.
Yes.
But talk about being an Indian American, Asian American.
Yeah.
And really wanting this to be your home, despite feeling like, as a Muslim American, you're kind of not loved all the time.
Right, but don't you feel? I mean, look, I think it's similar to sort of your you were born here, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is home.
Yeah.
Like, when you think about your story, the good and the bad, it's kind of like family. Like, it is your home.
Yeah.
For better, for worse.
Yeah.
It's that same sort of thing. Where
so there's not this like, well, if you guys start tripping, I can just bounce.
Yeah. I mean, well, look, like I have thought about that, but there's moments where like I'm like, yeah, man, I got to go back to the motherland, and then sometimes I go back. I remember going back to go visit when I was a kid, like my cousins, and I was in Delhi, and I had to take a dump, and I had to do the squat pot.
Yeah,
and I'm like, man, I'm American.
Listen,
like I'm super American.
Last year, I was in
it's duality.
I was in Delhi, and went to Bombay. And
how'd you like Bombay?
I mean, they were both first when you leave the airport.
Yeah.
It is a lot to deal with.
It's everything all at once.
It's everything all at once.
Yeah.
And when I was going across I think I was going across the Ganges, right? When I was in Mumbai. Right? Driving out to Pune, because I drove out to Pune. I got hit with a smell over that river of pollution that was so next level.
Yeah.
Because the pollution's crazy.
It is.
That all I could do was laugh. I laughed so
hilarious.
hard. I was like, I never smelled anything. But the people, nicest people, food's incredible, culture's incredible.
Yeah.
And you like.
Did you ever feel unsafe?
Never.
So the coolest thing about India, I think, is that you can walk around. I mean, I can't say this as a woman. I know there's obviously stuff that's going on. There's issues and stuff going on there. But the people themselves, I think, are some of the kindest people you've ever met. And you think about that many people being around each other.
Yeah.
Shit would get crazy.
Yeah.
But people are really friendly and amazing.
See, because I feel like.
Can I tell you my favorite story? This is my favorite India story. This overpopulation's a huge thing, especially coming from America.
Where's your family from?
My family lives in Delhi, majority, right? I go to the airport. I'm just like, God damn it, there's too many people. Like, I'm just becoming an American, right? Mm-hmm. The American side of me is coming out like, yo, boundaries, respect my boundaries.
Space.
Yeah. And then there's this long line, and I'm trying to get through. And then this guy runs in, and he goes, my father's sick. I need to see my father. And everyone's like, all right, hey, get out of the way, man. His dad's sick. And there was that sort of like internal recognized family values. Like, hey, family's above everything.
Right.
Everyone's pushing, everyone's shoving, but like, hey, man, this guy's dad is sick. Like, let's get out of the way. And I just, if you're at JFK, people are just on IG. I don't give a fuck, man. Get out of here. I got my white headphones in.
For sure.
Like, don't talk to me.
New York City's kind of special in that way. Like, if somebody's sick for real, there's definitely a bunch of a-holes.
Right.
Definitely a bunch of, there's pregnant women who can't get a seat on the train. Facts all day.
Crazy.
Old people standing. That happens. You see it all the time. But when shit gets crazy for real, like obviously 9/11 was that moment. That real recent. Or the blackout, right?
Yeah.
The blackout when literally no one had power and people, pizza place was just giving out pizza and beer and people were sleeping on the street.
People giving each other's ride. It was beautiful.
Everybody was like, look, man, we're here together. We're doing it. Like it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
So it definitely has its moments, but I will say, I definitely feel like as a Black American that we're not going to get the respect until we have a place to bounce out to. Like when you got that dual passport.
You have to have an exit strategy.
Oh, when you got that dual passport, they talking to you different. I feel like I feel like they treat Black people different when it's like, nah, we good. Go on back to what do you want? Ghana, South Africa?
Oh, so you mean so if someone's like, say, Nigerian, or they're from,
No, I mean Black folks, Black Americans.
Gotcha.
That when we make that reconnection to Africa, and it's like, nah, we're gonna take our skill set. We're gonna take our skill set elsewhere. What did LeBron say? I'll be taking my when Black Americans are like, yo, we taking our talent somewhere else.
Can I tell you this is kind of I don't want to get Al Gore ahead of my time about this, but the more you probably experienced this, Ebro, Laura, the more you travel,
of course,
you become a little bit less absolutist about the Yankee cap that you wear.
Yeah.
You love it, but you're not like, this is the be-all and end-all of everything. You know how you went to high school with kids and they're just like, this town is everything and this pizza spot, and you're like, come on, bro.
There's a whole world, man.
Exactly.
And that's why I think it's so important. Even I had this conversation with one of my friends, right? Because she's very passionate about taking kids from the hood, just upstate, just to see a farm.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And how she was like, yo, I've done it, and it completely changes a person's mind.
Totally.
Like just getting outside. There's people who don't leave the block.
Totally.
Or the borough. But I think it's super important because it completely changes your point of view, your values. Yo, I was in Bangkok. I came back. I told you, bro, I was like, I was actually thinking, like, I could probably live here. Like, I could probably do it.
It's
but you
cool,
start
right?
really thinking about how you want to, like, develop as a person.
It's liberating.
Yeah.
Like, for me, I remember I was doing shows. I did shows in South Africa, and I did shows in London. And the check cleared, and I'm like, man, if I get my bread, I can get it wherever I need to get it.
Wherever you need to.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure you've experienced that working in music, where you're just like, okay, if I gotta live in Johannesburg for a little bit, or Cape Town's dope. I can live in Mumbai for a bit. I can live in
will
London.
It be different? Yeah. And
course.
look, I think the one thing America has is this idea, because this doesn't always come through.
Sure.
This idea that you have some sort of legal recourse,
right,
and that the government isn't completely corrupt. But I'm questioning all of that, all of it. We have a guy running for governor in the state of Georgia right now,
right,
who is also still the
right?
Secretary of State.
Yeah, it's
and
crazy. Yeah.
And oversaw removing people from the voting.
Purging, voter purging. Yeah.
Or and he's still running.
You're talking about the 53,000 people in Georgia, right?
Yeah.
53. It was up to like 300,000.
Wow.
And people were trying to process it because I hear kids like in the hallway. I was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "No. If you don't dot your I or you don't completely
exact
cross
match,
your T,
right? You're talking about exact match,
and
yeah,
they
Exact
won't even
match.
tell you because you'll show up. Oh, I registered. I'm good to go.
And so what's your
And they're like,
recourse?
no.
What's your recourse? This guy's running for governor.
Right.
He's also the Secretary of State.
Yeah.
He didn't step down from his job.
All right, so this we talk about it. This is going to come out on Monday, right? So we talk about this on the show. This is
okay.
This is
Interesting.
This is my strategy. So this is what I'm sort of telling people that are watching, right? Because the point of the show is this shit is confusing, man. You ever filled out a W-9? You're like, what is this?
Yeah.
I'm trying to distill what's happening in politics, culture, and the world, coffee into espresso, something that's very potent and clear.
Yeah.
Here's what happens. A lot of this stuff, these decisions are made on how you vote, when you can vote. All these rules are determined by your local state legislator. You know how you have the voting scantron at the bottom of the scantron? You're like, who the fuck are these people?
Those are the people.
I'll just vote C. You know what I mean? You treat it like and then you got the cheat sheet from your one woke friend. You're like, hey, Andy says it's good, so he recycles, so I'm just gonna vote for this guy. Those people that you don't care about, they determine all of the congressional district lines, all of those things that prevent people from voting. That's why it's so important that people vote. I don't care what party you vote for. I mean, I'm not gonna, okay. But you get what I'm saying. It's
vote for
important
smart, progressive
yeah,
people.
Yes.
Let's just say that.
Yeah.
That's good.
But it's important that you participate. And there's a clear reason as to why they're creating such a barrier of entry for you to vote. Let's just put it that way. If you still want to be at home, because I got a lot of friends that are at home scrolling on WhatsApp, watching Game of Thrones, so like it doesn't matter. Let me just put it this way. Why is it easier to shop via one-click Amazon, but it's harder to vote? Why do you think they're making it that way?
Because they want to maintain control.
Correct.
They don't want you to vote. They want you to give up.
Correct. Especially in a quick way to eliminate people of color, people that have any history with a criminal record. You can entirely purge communities from voting. It's very fucked up, right? So the thing,
disenfranchise them.
Totally.
Make sure they don't get jobs.
And a little bit about the way I grew up, being a child of immigrants. The thing you learn is you learn the immigrant hustle. And the immigrant hustle is this: learn the rules to the video game and then figure that shit out accordingly. ABACABB. Like figure out what the hacks and the cheats are, as long as it's legal. Mm-hmm. And I think the GOP has done an incredible job of that with gerrymandering and all those sort of things. To be like, oh, these are the legal rules of the game? Okay, cool. Now I can draw the lines this way to completely eliminate these people from their
and they got time.
Correct.
And they got money.
Correct.
Yep.
And black folks been out here with no time and no money for a long time.
Let me also just put this on the record because this is going to go on YouTube. I also want everyone to be aware of this. The next big game that's going to shape stuff for us, for our communities, is the census.
Oh, Census 2020.
It is huge. That is going to be the next big thing because it is going to last well after Trump. Especially people of color. If you're not counted, that means that actually affects your school, your community, how many light posts you get in your city or in your town. It's really important. and they're doing everything they can to disenfranchise us from putting our names there.
Because if they don't know you exist, then you don't get the resources.
Correct.
In 2010, I remember it was big push.
Huge
push. And where it said African American, I just crossed it out and took a Sharpie and put black. Black.
But you filled it out, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
My whole family, everybody.
Look, I'm the big thing that I try to communicate to is, I try not to get too negative. There's a lot of people out there that are doing awful things in the world, but there's an even larger chunk that are just straight up indifferent. I try to reach those people.
Yeah.
There's a huge.
They're not sure what's going on. They're not sure why they should participate.
It doesn't matter.
They're brand new. They're young. We had a 19-year-old guy call this morning. He's Staten Island. Staten Island is in shambles out there, and Republicans been running Staten Island for the longest.
Right.
I'm like, you registered to vote? He was like, I know. I said, you voting? He's like, nah, I forgot to register.
Right.
How old are you? 19.
Right.
I just didn't care.
Doesn't even get it. Still doesn't get it.
Even like Travis Scott with
we were giving him Travis Scott tickets.
The whole thing.
He was calling up to win Travis Scott tickets. Still was just kind of like,
Travis is out in Texas doing his thing with Beto O'Rourke and all that. Wow.
But it's some people that just don't. It hasn't hit them yet. Like they don't really have anything that they're fighting for.
Have you come to terms with all the Kanye stuff? I remember we were texting about that.
Which the term asshole comes. That's the term I came through.
It keeps re-updating every few days.
Yeah. Nah, I'm off Kanye. Like Kanye was never a person I looked to for intellect. I looked to Kanye for great music. I looked to Kanye for emotion. And when he started doing asshole shit, I told him he was a coon. When he's running up to the lobby to meet with Donald Trump, it's like, nah, bro, that's not it.
How do you check the box, Laura?
Even when it comes to Kanye, because after a while, I remember walking in here and be like, I don't even want to talk about this anymore because it's so ridiculous.
But I think the larger conversation is what do you do with artists or people that you admire that are complicated? How do you adjudicate that? How do you get what I'm saying?
You can be an asshole that I like your music.
And I like your music. But I just don't want to hear anything else.
I mean, look, I never liked his clothes, and I consider Kanye a friend.
No,
right?
well, look, I like the shoes, right? Okay. Now I don't even want to put them on. I really don't.
Wow.
I don't want to support it. Me and Rosenberg were having a conversation about what are we going to do with them? Like, should we all get together and just put our Yeezys together and sell them?
Wow.
Like,
it's complicated, man.
It is, but to me...
Because we're doing an episode on Amazon this week, right? Mm-hmm. Amazon's a very fucked up... they do some pretty crazy stuff, right?
Well, Bezos makes how much per day? Some ridiculous amount of money. Meanwhile, people,
one of the richest men. I think the richest man in the world. Yeah. What is the net worth? $100 billion. Crazy. It's crazy. So, obviously, there's been some. With a company that big, there is some stuff that's terrifying, right? The way they treat some of their employees. Mm-hmm. There is a cost to this level of bigness, right? Mm-hmm. If a dude can just show up within 2 hours and give me diapers, toothpicks, and a Halloween costume, there is a cost to that.
Yeah.
But I had to be real. I had to say it on air. I am way more lazy than I am woke.
Yeah.
All of us are.
Like there is a line, and so the way we all navigate these lines is it's complicated.
Well, I think we all pick and choose what works for us, and hills that we're gonna die on.
Right.
Right. There's definitely places you're gonna go to war, and there's other places where you're kind of like,
yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. I think even with the Kanye thing, I drew a line on, I'm not paying attention to your politics.
Right.
And I'm not paying attention to your attempt at intellect.
Yeah.
And I'm going to let it be known that the people that you're aligning with, they align with white supremacists.
Right.
I don't align with anyone who aligns with people who don't like brown or black people.
Wow, that's interesting.
Done.
Right.
There's nothing for us to talk about.
Yeah.
If I have to convince you to like me because of my color of skin, what are we doing?
It's so funny you talk about supremacy. So Trump's doing that whole thing of I'm a nationalist.
That's
Why
right.
is that bad, right? This is the thing that bothers me. We're talking about the more you travel. Again, this is not going to sound popular, but the more you travel, where I'm just kind of like, nationalism is whack.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I think in 15, 20 years, the more people travel, people will be like, claiming that that I'm from this one place is kind of corny.
Yeah. It'll happen over time. I think that people like picking teams. That's one of the biggest problems we have in politics. I think there's a lot of politicians who would prefer to run as independents. They don't want to be associated with either team.
Yeah.
But you can't win unless you're associated with a team. Right?
Yeah.
Some people just are like, listen, I don't want to get involved in the emotional stuff.
That's why I wish we had coalition governments. Right?
Interesting.
That way a politician could be like, I'm about these very specific set of values that are specific to me. I'm a democratic socialist this. I like this, and this. We've teamed up with these people.
Yeah.
Voltron style. And you make a coalition.
It comes down to money in America. It's capitalism.
Totally.
It comes down to money, getting awareness, marketing, which is really one of we deserve Donald Trump. Donald Trump is as American as apple pie. He's a lying scumbag. He's a piece of shit. And if you look at America's history, we are some lying fucking scumbag pieces of shit, and we've done horrible shit to people. And even the shit that's popular,
right,
is fucking. We have a food crisis in this country. People are fucking dying because of the food they eat, the air they breathe. We deserve this shit.
Ebro's on his Farrakhan right now.
Yo, but serious, think about it.
No, I hear you, Ebro. Look, man, I deal with this. This is a huge.
I know you got a new show. You don't want to go there and shit.
No,
you know what I mean?
No, we go there, man. I would have the kingdom of Saudi Arabia, man.
No, you went in. You went there.
Like I'm taking swings. Yeah. You know what they do to journalists, man, right? You heard, right?
Yeah, I heard.
So look, man. This is actually more of a big brother philosophical advice question that I'm glad we're doing it on the air. I feel this way a lot. I really appreciate and value the fact that you're just willing to put it all out there to be like, yo, if you believe or if you align yourself with this person, fuck you. For me, a debate that I oftentimes have is how do I thread the needle properly? Because there's going to be some stuff that I need to pull you to sort of see where I'm coming from. But if I come out, do you ever deal with that? Hey, how political or how? Because sometimes people don't want to hear it, man.
Well, no, I don't really care if you don't want to hear it.
Really?
That's not my job. My job isn't to appease you. My job isn't to make nice with you. My job is, at least I feel like what they keep me around for.
You're a little bit more Malcolm than you are Martin.
Yeah, all day.
You know how Van Jones had that whole thing about we need to reach across the aisle?
Yeah, it depends on who's sitting over there.
I think he's a little bit more.
Ebro, can I say this? I respectfully disagree because I think we live right now in an age of cancel culture.
Yeah.
So there's two things, right? You know how people go, Kanye's canceled. So you know who's canceled? So this person did this thing wrong. They're canceled. But you can't cancel your neighbors, your grandparents, your loved ones. I know people that literally are not talking to their family.
Yeah.
I mean. You can.
You absolutely can.
But I'm saying,
I know what you mean,
is it the right
that's why I
long-term
say it
decision? Because we
depends
still have
on
to
who's
live.
sitting over there, right?
Okay.
If you're sitting over there like, white is right, we're not associating with people who look this way or believe this way.
Right.
Cool, we drawing lines then, fam.
Right.
I'm not begging for your acceptance. I don't need to get into your club.
I 100% agree. But there's a line between ignorance, a person is just ignorant, or they are truly racist
if you're
and vile.
stupid enough,
and I agree with that line.
If you're stupid enough to not like people because of their spiritual beliefs, right? What they do in their own personal bedroom,
right,
or the color of their skin, and I'm sure I could probably come, but those are the top. Let's run with those.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sexuality, religion,
I don't need
identity,
to talk to you. I would rather spend my time talking to people who are still learning about life and show them how great the world is. Because, right, I'm not going to spend my time converting people who have already made up their minds.
True.
I'm going to talk to people who want to be open-minded. Maybe they don't know everything, and they're honest and okay saying, I don't know everything, but I know there's a big world out there, and I'm willing to learn.
I found it.
And you're cool with chapter. What about you? Sorry.
No. I was gonna say that I found it. I'm for the most part I agree with Ebro, right?
Yeah.
But I had a friend of mine who had a very specific stance on immigration, right?
Okay.
She was like, all these people are coming, all these MS-13, blah blah
Right,
blah.
right,
So she
right,
starts
right.
giving me
The
all
caravans,
these stories,
all that stuff, right?
So I said, and you really think that all these people are murderers? And she's like, I mean, what else? So I had to literally break down the story of how my family came to this country and how they did it and everything we went through. So I was like, so when you look at me and you look at my parents, I was like, do you feel the same? And she was stuck for a moment.
Right.
And I was like, our stories come.
Did she hit you with the? But Laura, you're one of the good ones.
Yes, definitely.
You got one of those, right?
And I was like, no.
You're one of the good
I was
ones.
like, and
I'm
I had to break
light-skinned,
it down
of course
to her.
I got that.
But afterwards, she actually told me later, she's like, you know what? I've been thinking about it differently, and now I
Right.
see a different point of view.
Right.
And this is someone who I respect, but I never even knew she felt that way.
But that's ignorance. But that's ignorance.
And I can deal with that.
That's not just based on somebody's appearance.
There's a lot of it, though.
That's not based on something. She's basing that on people making a choice based on life and death and their circumstances.
But do you hear there's a little bit of sprinkle of racism
all I
in
said
there.
was there is.
Yeah.
But that's also social programming, right? That white supremacy shit is social programming that we inherit because we're American, right? We inherit this idea that was passed down into the society by the founders who were white supremacists, and they wanted shit for white men specifically.
Yes.
Right?
Can I take you the second thing that I think we need to figure out? How can we disagree with civility?
I don't understand.
That concept has been completely lost. If you disagree with someone, now people are like, I'm not friends with that person anymore. Or they have this one thing that I don't align with them on this particular political issue or social issue. Yeah. And I can't fuck with them anymore.
But there's certain things.
But
personally, there's certain things
like,
I can't
really?
I can't fuck with you if you're a racist. I cannot.
I'm not talking about that.
I'm not gonna. Well, you mean civil? Like I'm not gonna punch you in the face unless I feel like I'm threatened, right? But if you're a racist and we disagree, you go over there, I go. You know what I mean? Like I see. It's not like when I've seen Confederate flags on the road here in New York City, right? And there's plenty of them upstate that I'm trying to drive the dude off the road because in my mind and in my heart, how I actually feel is that's as bad as a swastika to me, maybe even worse, right? Millions of people that I'm related to died with that flag, and that flag still flies, and it's not even illegal. People kind of go, it's over government buildings, like it's a thing. You know what I'm saying? But, right. But it's civil, right? Like people aren't going to war over it, right? People aren't. We see it. Black folks see it. I mean, the kid got beat up in Baltimore the other day because he decided he wanted to wear it to school, and a bunch of kids beat him up for wearing it. But I think for the most part in this country, people are civil when they disagree. There are some dust-ups, but that's because our leadership, the tone of our leadership, is fucked up.
I agree with that.
He's an asshole. And when we had another leader, Obama, bad things were happening when Obama was in office.
Correct.
The tone was different. The leadership, somebody was actually working to quell.
It's a top-down thing. I 100% agree.
And that's the biggest problem. And Laura, I'll tell you, prior to Donald Trump coming in office, I was like, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just be as honest as I can be. It doesn't affect me one way or another who you decide to vote for.
Right.
I make a lot of money. I will be fine. But I'm telling you, you do not want this guy as your leadership. I don't necessarily love Hillary Clinton either.
Right.
You do not want this tone. And I kept saying tone. It's about the tone. Leadership and managing human beings is about tone and temperature. This guy's not it. It's not it. You don't want it. And here we are. We're sending troops. He just said, our president said that he was authorizing the military to shoot people if they throw rocks. It's the same thing.
I think the third thing that's the most dangerous for me, man, is the erosion of truth. That perhaps could be the scariest thing of all. So in the past, I was a speech and debate kid. That was my thing in high school, humble brag. But in order to debate someone, you have to have an objective truth that you're debating, right? There's this piece of legislation, there's a law, you're gonna argue for it, I'm gonna argue against it. But we all agree this piece of paper is accurate. That's not a thing anymore. That's very scary. Objective truth and reality being up for grabs. That's, to me, probably the scariest.
They have a term. It's called alternative. Alternative facts.
But that's why the show's really important to me, because we're really research intensive. Like, we found some, like, for example, in the Saudi Arabia episode, we found that CENTCOM document. And in the opening 2 minutes, we're like, this is still a U.S. military document that they give you when you go to Saudi Arabia that describes the people of Saudi Arabia as descendants of whatever, with Negro blood. This is a .gov, like .military document. And it was cool. Like, people saw that and they were like, that's not real. And I'm like, it's still alive. And then they took it down. The government took it down and apologized for it.
Really?
Which to me, it was in the New York Times. Wasn't it just in the New York Times?
I missed that.
Wow.
Yeah. Check it out on Twitter. It was really beautiful. That, to me, is one of the cool things that's possible with the show. Right? And we did this whole thing, and shout outs to dictionary.com. They did it with us too, where people were like, there's a run I did in where I was like, People are like, well, that's an old document. I'm like, no, it was updated in June. But it's probably way deep in the back. No, chapter 1, page 5.
It's right there in your face.
But is Negro still a bad word? Dictionary.com, offensive. No, it is. And it's cool that people saw that, and we kind of threw shade at the military a little bit, not in a disrespectful way, but like, hey, it's still live. And if you want to have peaceful relationships with the people of Saudi Arabia or people that are descendants of African or African American, you can't use language like that.
Right.
And they apologize. So look, man, I consider myself to be an angry optimist. I'm not happy with the current state of the world, but I do think there's an incredible amount and potential for change, especially in this country.
Well, my old ass is definitely a fan because I'm just angry.
Are you full on nihilist at this point? Like it doesn't matter?
No.
Because in our conversations,
I'm actually just joking. Like we talk.
Yeah.
I believe that the potential of what we could be as a multicultural, multi-ethnic society that is open-minded, intelligent, right, and willing to love people just for being who they are is possible. I believe it's possible.
That's my thing. I've been very lucky in my life to meet exceptional, inspiring people, especially being in New York, working in the arts, all that stuff. How do you scale that? How do you scale that so it reaches everybody from here all the way to Sacramento to everywhere in between?
I think, people only know their surroundings. Like, you're never going to be able to change that. People only think about themselves. They're very selfish. Right. Some of that is cultural for us, I believe, in America, because capitalism breeds that, right? Like, where you just like, my bank account, how much money can I make? People come to this country to get their comeuppance, if you will, for their family. They're not thinking, there's not like the greater American idea is literally about getting as much money as you can, right? Like, that's what people come here for. Right. So some of that's woven into who we are, but I believe, with your 3 items that you feel are dangerous, the other one is anti-intellectualism, right? Like, we live in a time where not being smart and not being informed about facts is in some ways celebrated. It's like when
you feel like that.
When Hov was like, "Oh, you trying to kick knowledge?" and everybody was like, "Yeah, yo, fuck that knowledge, yo." Like, that's literally is the American mainstream.
That's the one thing I loved about Obama. He made cerebral sexy. And no, again, man,
trying to holler at Obama
a little bit. And by the way, man, I've dunked on Obama on the show. You got to understand. Again, Muslims, we have a complicated relationship with Obama too.
Yeah.
But I really did respect that about him. He did make cerebral.
No leadership's gonna be perfect.
100%.
No family's gonna be perfect. No leadership's gonna be perfect.
Right.
No country's perfect. Like, there's no such thing as perfect. I strongly believe that we focus on how great we are too much. We need to start having more conversations about our flaws and be okay, because that's how you improve. That's how you make progress.
Bro, that's really abrasive. You got to understand, it's really abrasive. You've read the comments, man. When people go through the comments,
I don't give a fuck about your comments. Wake up, man. It's happening right now.
Bro's about that life.
No, like, serious.
No,
like, what are we waiting on?
I hear you.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
But allow me to push back. People go, don't tell me who I am and what I'm about. You don't know me, Ebro. I got 3 kids. I live over here. I'm driving them to school right now. You're telling me I have problems. Please don't tell me about my privilege or my problems, man. I got 3 kids. I got a wife. I got shit to do. We got bills. I have Amazon Prime on the way.
Yeah, exactly, right.
But you know what? But
that cell phone. To me, that's
that's the medicine of comedy. Of how can I get your guard down a little bit to maybe pepper it in. It is a lightsaber that you wield, and the best Jedis. And I'm not saying I am. I think I'm still a Padawan. But the best Jedis wield that sword incredibly well. The Chappelles, the Carlins, the Stewarts, the Colberts. They're really good at that.
Yeah.
Of sort of like getting your guard down. I'm saying, hey man, like, I'm flawed too. And then boom,
God bless you.
I'm trying.
No, you're doing a phenomenal job. The show's great. Patriot Act on Netflix. I saw on your Instagram.
Yeah.
You were out on tour prior to Patriot Act dropping.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You were at Lincoln Center?
Carnegie
Hall.
It was beautiful, man. It was crazy.
How big was that moment as not only an immigrant, a Muslim, An Indian man, a brown man, a comedian, like what? Give me context.
I mean, you know this in New York City, what that venue is, how historic it is, and the stories, right?
Of course.
And to be in the car pulling up to Carnegie Hall and just seeing 4,000 brown people, just all that melanin outside of that building. It's like, it was one of the most incredible experiences of my life. And you walk through those hallways, you're like, man, this is history. And to me, it was inspiring, man, to see someone like me, Hasan Minhaj, be on that stage, you know? Because you see the photos of the people who came before you. And it's like the old Hall of Presidents. And then just my brown face with my like lined up Drake beard and poofy hair being like, man, we're really out here.
Did they have Hove's photo up? Was Hove's photo up?
I didn't see Hope's photo. He played Carnegie Hall too?
Yeah, no, I was on the board for getting him up to play Carnegie Hall, but on some hip hop shit, I think.
They didn't want to do it?
No, they wanted to do it. I was just going to say, there was some things they asked him not to do.
Sure.
That he did anyway. So I don't know if his photo actually went up in the kind of like the...
Wow.
I mean, we had to keep it hip hop, man. It was Hove, man.
but
He wore a suit. It was an orchestra. I put a suit on. I mean, it was a lot of... We all dressed up.
So what did he tell him? Don't curse?
No, it was like don't walk around somewhere.
But Ebro, man, there's a lot. You know this because there's a lot of rules, right? Yeah.
Yeah, one of them was like we don't want him to walk up these stairs, and he was like, no, I'm walking up these stairs.
Yeah, you know how we have like everything's all on social, like there's 9 cameras here.
Yeah.
They're like, no, there's no cameras. Like there's an old man who does it like the 1800s style. It's crazy, right? But I will say this, man. And you know this, I call our superpowers, we're insiders, outsiders. That's our superpower, actually, believe it or not. It makes great art, it makes great comedy. But I was like, man, this is a Trojan horse moment. They let us in the building.
Yeah.
And that was really beautiful. And then we did 2 shows, and I'm like, man, I hope this is just the beginning.
Oh, it is.
You know what I mean?
Just get started. How old are you now? Like 25 or something?
No, I'm 33, man.
You're 33?
Yeah, man. But I look young, yeah.
Shit, bro.
Yeah.
Yo, man.
I'm out here married, got a baby. Ebro gave me a lot of advice.
They don't believe my advice. They don't.
Ebro's actually a very sweet guy. I know he's coming out here with all the fuck Trump stuff. He'll actually hit you with a text to be like, how are you? How's your mental health? Do you have a short poem I could read? Like he really actually genuinely cares.
Look, one thing we do know about Ebro is that when it comes to babies, he has a lot to say.
Family, man.
Yes.
Family.
It's
I'm
huge,
sure
man.
he talked to you about breastfeeding, about
he
sleep
did.
training,
He did. He did.
water.
I haven't gotten the water conversation, but it has been invaluable to have people like that in my life that keep you focused on the things that really matter.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
You got great people around you.
Thanks, man.
Are you paying attention to all this hip hop coming out of India right now?
I haven't. What's going on?
Is
there a lot of great music that's coming out of India?
I mean, specifically Anik Khan.
I love Anik. Anik's like a friend.
He's from Queens, but he's in India touring right now.
Yeah.
Right? Raja Kumari.
Yes.
Who, and then Divine out of India.
Yeah,
he's dope. Like those dudes, they're putting it on. There's like an Instagram account I follow. It's like Hip Hop India. Like
what got you on this, man? Because the conversations we've had off the record, you're like, man, this is really cool.
Because I'm racist and y'all brown.
And you were kicking it with Narcy.
Narcy, that's my guy too.
Yeah, you know. Like you're in the know.
Here's the thing, man. Around the world, hip hop has been embraced by people who have stories they need to tell.
Right.
And, one of the best ways to combat the remnants of colonialism is to be able to tell your story through music. And the one thing that I believe bonds a lot of indigenous people around the world is telling stories to the drum, right? And hip hop in its essence is that. Right. Telling your story to that drum, right? And I believe that that's why so many cultures all over the world embrace hip hop. So that's really what it was. It's like, they want to tell their story.
I'm amazed that you still appreciate it the way you used to, man. Because I'll be honest, man, I'm not a fan of these 7-track albums. I was getting in a big argument with Julia about this.
Are you a fan of the 23-track albums?
You know what? Look, I'm a fan of refining your product. I cannot tell you how many times I bumped Life After Death, both discs.
Oh yeah.
And when you listen to this stuff, it's
best
like
double album ever made.
But when some of the stuff that I'm listening to right now as a comedian, I'm like, yo, that's your open mic set.
Right.
Polish it before you put out the special. That's all I'm saying. And I think people can tell the difference in the quality, or I'm just an old man. I don't know.
No, it's a look. You're an old man. You're getting older.
We battle with it.
You've also experienced something that was very well crafted. That '90s hip hop thing was very well crafted.
There was a refined sound and story.
But it was also the music industry's changed. So now you actually put out material, and that's a part of your development process.
Okay.
Right. So when we're experiencing these kids and they're 17, 18, and they're trending on the internet, and everybody loves that first project, and you tune in and you're like, this ain't it, bro.
Yeah.
By the time they're 25, maybe, if they continue to work on their craft, they become what they would have become in the artist development era.
Right.
So it's happening because SoundCloud, and you just throw it up on the internet.
So maybe I need to look at it like that. Like, hey, you're listening to their open mic MTV Unplugged.
You're listening to their mixtape. You're listening to basically now when you're listening to artists, you're listening to the free CD that they would hand you in the mall or in Times Square when they were just trying to get on.
You have to think about that accordingly.
Yes. I do all the time because I know there's a lot of times it's not going to be where they're going to end up. They're going to end up somewhere else creatively.
Have you been pleasantly surprised by the growth you've seen in these artists?
Absolutely.
Are there artists that you see now
Absolutely.
that you go, man?
First time I sat down with Migos, I was like, I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. Or what are you saying? What is this? What is this? And they've continued to work. And not because of me, but probably because they love the music. And they were young and they were just doing stuff. Remember this too, in hip hop. Hip hop is that music culture where people just made shit for them and their friends.
Right.
Right. You never knew it was going to be popular. It was just, I mean, even when you think of like Flash and Bambaataa, there were kids in the Bronx with their friends.
Right.
And even the stories of these young artists, they literally made a track in their bedroom and just put it on the cloud, on SoundCloud, just to see what happens. Next thing you know, it blows up.
And they use the Wu-Tang rap name generator, and it's like, yo, here's my name. I'm here.
There you go.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think...
No, don't get me wrong. I firmly believe in the talent. I think the Kendricks and the Donald Glovers are that talented. They are that incredible. You know,
it's just a new way of doing things.
Right.
So I know you can't tell us everything you're going to be covering on Patriot Act over the next, because 2 episodes are out now.
We got 2 episodes, but by the time everybody sees this, we got the 3rd one, which is Amazon, which is going to be big.
And so when do they drop?
Sundays. It's a Sunday show. Every Sunday we drop.
Okay.
And it goes online too on Sunday. So if you don't want to use Netflix, it'll be on YouTube for you too.
Very nice.
But let's just put it this way: we're taking swings. My big thing on the show was we got to attack the white space. There's a lot of hosts that look a very specific way that are talking about very specific issues. And there's a lot of stuff that affect our communities that people just aren't really talking about.
Yeah.
And that to me is really exciting, especially being on a platform like Netflix. There's 190 countries. And you know this, again, going back to what we talked about. Yeah. If you travel, there's a lot of stuff that people are like, that's cool, that's cute. You guys think about this in America. We're dealing with extreme nationalism right now. But the prequel happened with Brexit.
Right.
And it's happening right now in Latin America. Right?
Yep.
So
what about Blexit? The black exit. No, that's not. No.
Are you gonna start it?
No, you didn't hear?
What? Wait.
You don't know about Blexit?
That's
You're
Candace
not on.
Owens. Fam.
Oh my! No! Hit me! What? Look, you're talking about the homegirl who's friends with Kanye.
I call her Candy Jackson.
Okay.
Candy Jackson. Yo, did you see where Candy Jackson and Tammy Lomaine was getting into it?
See,
I saw them taking shots at each other.
This is why I really feel for you, Ebro. You have to embroil yourself in all this. I try to eat intellectual
so
vegetables.
Here
I mean?
goes the thing. So the girl was running around with Kanye.
Yes.
All right. She's obviously a part of an organization that organizes for the GOP.
Right.
They had a youth black leadership summit.
Oh yeah, that was insane.
Where all the black kids showed up with their MAGA hats on, hanging out.
Happen? Where did these kids?
She
come
helped
from?
organize that.
Yeah. It's her movement.
Thousands of people showed up. Whether they, listen, there are black conservatives, so let's not make that mistake. That's always been a thing.
But that many?
And young. And they feel like the Democratic Party hasn't done their job and takes their votes for granted. And, these are great conversation pieces.
Right.
My whole thing is like, guys, if you want to leave a quote-unquote plantation, you don't exit the Democratic Party and jump into the Republican Party.
And disguise it under free thinking.
And then call yourself free thinkers. Whoa.
It's bonkers.
You got to go. Listen, it's so comedic that you have to go look at it. But anyway...
My favorite
the
tweet.
black exit.
Okay.
From the Democratic Party. It was a thing.
Okay.
It was good. And so then, I guess, the girl asked Kanye to design the logo.
There's no way Candace Owens is taking these people to Africa. There's no way.
No, that's not what this is.
I think Africa would swipe left on them.
Oh, absolutely. And then, I'm sure there's some conservative Africans.
Sure.
Yeah.
You're right.
One of the things we got to make sure we don't do is assume, look, there's conservative Indians and Asians.
Yeah, totally.
There's conservative Spanish folks, black folks. There's white supremacist, racist, Jewish people.
Yes. And Latinos. Yes.
It's crazy, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy out here.
So anyway, they make a logo for their movement.
Okay.
Okay? She asked Kanye to do it. Or Kanye hooked her up with a friend, and the friend didn't want.
So Virgil designed it?
We don't know.
No,
I hope not.
I hope not.
But anyway, the logo comes
Selling
out,
for $4,000 on eBay and shit
and her
like
and
that?
Kanye start beefing.
Okay.
And Kanye's like, I'm being used. I didn't know I was being used by this.
Right.
I don't want to
Hasan,
be associated with politics.
After all the fuckery, this is what makes him be like, you know what? I'm done. Because when she presented the whole movement and these beautiful, T-shirts of all that represent
She
people
put it on
from all
Nikes
over.
or something like that, and she's like, you know I'm Adidas. How
She
could
said,
you do this
She
to
said,
me?
my superhero, my friend Kanye West designed it, and he was offended because that's what he went on Twitter, was like, I didn't design it. I introduced her to somebody who didn't want their name attached to it, and yet she used mine.
Oh, wow.
And I have nothing to
That
do
was
with
the straw.
Brexit.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was it.
And then her and Tammy Lomain started beefing. So the whole thing's coming to unravel right
Ebro,
before
Laura,
the midterm.
this sounds like a game of telephone where like an
It's
improv game. Like you start the
insane.
story and then you keep
that's how we
going and
do
then
it.
you keep going.
That's how we do it.
This is insanity.
Patriot Act on Netflix. My guy Hasan Minhaj, congratulations,
Thanks for having me,
man.
man.
Yeah,
Thanks
man,
for having me.
Keep
great.
pushing,
I really
keep
appreciate
pushing,
it.
man.
Thanks.
You guys give it up one time.
Thank you.